Hey guys, my name's Tony, and if you're watching this, you're watching a live video. So I love to go live, probably, oh goodness, once a week or so, 3 times a week. I like to go live. I just did a live video not too long ago, earlier today, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I had the plumber show up right when I was doing it. So the plumber shows up. Hey, you guys, adulting, right? You got to do what you got to do. There's no other way to say it. But hey, guys, so this video, if you're watching it at some point later on, it's live. So just definitely remember that. I want you to know, it is live. Goodness, I'm trying to well, look at comments here on the. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm telling you, you ever have one of those days where everything you do, you just kind of is weird. Uh, that's today, y'all. Yeah, I've been having one of these days where every little thing that I try, it just goes wrong. Hey, if you're like me, let me know in the comments below. Hey, make sure I'm not alone. Uh, Goodness gracious. So you guys, I am doing a versus video. I actually made this video like I mentioned earlier today, but I had an issue because the plumber showed up. Oh my goodness. Y'all, we are going to be doing the Timemore S3 versus this brand new, I just got it uh, by Gemilai, uh, Molight grinder, okay? And this is an electric grinder. It's espresso forward, definitely very espresso. Earlier in my video, I pulled one shot with this. It didn't go very well just because it was too coarse. So we're gonna, of course, dial that down. That's the first thing we're gonna be doing. And I am a huge fan of Timemore, y'all. I actually used a Timemore C3 Pro, this one right here, as my standalone grinder for about 6 to 9 months. And I used it for my espresso. So I know Timemore, using a Timemore hand grinder is not crazy for espresso. There's just no other way to say it. I love what Timemore does. They just are a company that's been producing some really awesome stuff. I pulled some espresso shots off of this really cool grinder that I got to try out the other day. This is the Nutty grinder, and Nutty uses a Timemore internal grinder to go ahead, and that's actually inside, and they've designed the outside. And this is an electric grinder that you can use for pour overs, espresso, you name it, but it's handheld and portable. So that's pretty cool too. So Timemore really is a company that really does a lot of amazing things. If you are an espresso geek like me, I'm going to ask you right now, think about subscribing to this channel. I'm a total nerd when it comes to making coffee. About 20 years ago, when I was in college, I was a barista at a coffee shop, got the coffee bug, just checking to see if that was getting hot. And then for the last 20 years, been doing a lot of AeroPress and a lot of pour overs in my home office. And when I travel, I take my AeroPress with me. And I for a long time, I didn't pull the trigger on buying an espresso machine because I really wanted to have an Italian espresso machine, and I wanted something that was going to be, had its providence and all that stuff. And then finally, my wife has said, "Why don't act that way? Just go get a machine, make some coffee." And so that's what I did. I bought a really affordable espresso machine on Facebook Marketplace. I have it right over here for $40. That's my DeLonghi EC Pro, or ECP, excuse me, ECP. And I was pulling some amazing shots, and it kind of hit me. Well, what am I doing? Why am I waiting to make coffee till I have some big fancy Italian machine? So that kind of brings me to this machine right here. This is the Gemilai Owl, and it is just a really cool machine that has kind of been something that's hitting all the bells and whistles. It is, what's really neat about it, just trying to make sure I got my camera here angled the right way. It uses an E61 style group head, and it actually gets hot. There's a heating element here, and where you would have a very nice high-end expensive Italian machine is that it would be heating up that group head because there would be a boiler sitting on top. It uses thermal block technology, So what's really cool is that you could pull shots. Like right now, if I wanted to pull a shot, I could. You know, I don't have to wait for it to heat up per se. But I am giving it some time to heat that portafilter. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pull 18 grams of coffee right now. And we are going to go ahead and make some espresso. Like I said before, I tried to go ahead and do this, and I went too coarse. So here's the thing I'm going to tell you right now. This is not a full review of the Timemore. I'm actually going to be doing a full review video, but this is kind of a first look video. And I did this with this grinder. And the reason why I'm kind of doing this is, y'all, this is my first time using this particular grinder. Well, now second time. So I'm still new to it, and you guys could see off the cuff what it's like, you know, getting to it. I like to spend some time with a machine or a piece of hardware before I make my review videos. But every now and then I like doing lives like this because it's a little more real. You know, a lot of times when you go on YouTube, you see somebody who is, you know, it might be their third or fourth time they pulled a shot and it looks picture perfect. Maybe they're a professional barista. And that's not, I'm not calling anyone out particular because I'm not calling anyone out. But I'm just saying, you see these awesome shots, and I like to do things a little more real. I actually am going to recalibrate this. Seems a little off. I like to kind of let you guys see what it's like really using stuff just because I'm a geek. See, I knew that was a little off. It's my fault. Human error. Okay. Sometimes it's cool to watch these live videos so you can really see what's up. Someone, if you haven't watched them already, is Han's videos. He has a coffee and a cooking channel that's amazing. His live videos are epic. But he's one that I really have always enjoyed so much. So if you haven't already, go subscribe to his channel. He's like the coffee master. Him and Tom's Coffee Corner are like my Yoda and Obi-Wan of coffee. I've learned so much from watching their videos. Oh my goodness, they're amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to do 18 grams to start off. This is 18.9, so it's a little bit less, but that's okay. And then we're going to go ahead and use this as I drop my camera. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I'm telling you, today's the curse day. I don't know what is going down, but I'm telling you, every single thing I'm touching is just falling apart. Alrighty. Yeah, sometimes you got to have those days, right? Got to have those days to have the good days. So this is really cool. I'm going to tell you right now, this grinder is so robust. Look at that spin. It's an all-metal construction, super calibrated. Up top, you have a lot of different grind settings. And I was actually looking at this earlier. Here's your suggestions. And this is where I knew I made a mistake earlier. In Espresso, it basically says 0 to 0.1. And I thought maybe I was reading it wrong, but it's actually 0 to 0.16, excuse me. And I did it too, because I was so used to my other Timemore grinder. I was thinking, oh no, there's no way. But after pulling that shot, oh yeah, that's definitely was not the correct way to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down to, I'm going to go with a 1, right at a 1. Okay? Because I want to make sure that I'm going fine enough. There's just no other way to say it. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead. I got it at a 1. Let's grind up some magic. One thing I'm going to tell you right now is that I've just been experiencing this grinder goes through beans very smooth. There's just no other way to say it. So this one is really one of their top tier grinders. It's sitting at 159. And personally, if you are getting into espresso for the first time and you're looking for a good grinder, I actually don't think it's a bad idea to go with a hand grinder. I know a lot of folks might say otherwise. Hey, Tommy, how's it going? You know, they might say otherwise, but I actually think it's a really good place to start off with because you know that you're getting something that's going to be super high quality. You know, and any of the Timemores I've been very happy with. Oh man, I tell you, everyone has a bad day every now and then, or you're just like literally, not to give too much TMI, guys, but I live in the country, and I had to have my septic worked on today, and that's not fun. You know, that's when you know you're really an adult, when you're excited about the plumber coming over. That's terrible. Oh my goodness. So I get asked all the time, "Hey, I'm not getting the greatest shots. You know, what's the problem?" You know, maybe like I there's a couple all-in-one systems that I've got before, and the all-in-one grinders, they're okay. They're not the worst, they're not the best, but you know, sometimes it really just helps just to have that better grinder. And that's where having something like this might be the answer that you're looking for. So right now, I can already tell off the bat, that looks way better than what I was getting before. That 2 is just way too coarse. Would have actually probably been great for a mocha pot. I tend to go finer on my mocha pot, so I already know that would have been great. Let me go ahead and clean this up a tiny bit using a MH Bomber basket, 18 gram precision. Okay. And there we go. Looking around for my dosing ring. Yeah, even when I was doing the WDT work, I was noticing that it didn't feel right. And that's kind of thing. Trust your gut. The retention on this one has been really good. I did do RDT work, you know. All right, let's do some WDT. Yes. Jovi was asking if I've heard of the Turn Legato or the Gemilai CRM 3007Z and the 3007L. And I'm going to tell you yes. So here's some really cool history and some interesting stuff in case you guys don't know this. Gemilai, which is this company who makes the Owl and makes this grinder, actually kind of is the big daddy designer company. They've been doing work for about 20 years, doing design work. And sometimes, depending on the region, use different brand labels. So it's a different brand, but it's the same design as Gemilai. So it's kind of Gemilai coming in and doing the design work, but a different brand depending on your region is being sold under their label, and that's totally cool. So here in the States, that was Trent Legato. And they do really good work. Espresso Outlet is an amazing company. They are awesome. I love their sales that they do with their refurbished units, which is really awesome. Gemilai has the 3007, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm planning on buying one. I've actually been sitting on the fence for a really long time. I'm a person that likes to do a lot of different. I will research something until almost like the fad is over, so to speak. And I'm gonna pull the trigger real soon on getting one. I'm planning on buying one. I literally was just talking to Gemilai. Gemilai sent this out for review. I asked if they would send one of those out for review. They're not going to do it, but they are going to help me. I'm going to pay for it. So it's coming out of my own pocket. But they're going to give me a little promo price on it, which is really nice of them. So I'm actually excited. I should be ordering that pretty soon. But it is a solid unit. Gemilai just makes some cool stuff. There's no other way to say it. I actually started watching Hans videos on the Turret Legato. So let's go ahead and let's pull a shot, because I need to get this. I need to get this right, y'all. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this a little bit closer so y'all could see it. I'm going to shoot for 38 out and right around 30 seconds. Came out way too fast again. Way too fast, but way better than before. Oh my goodness gracious. That is unbelievably too fast. But would it be considered a turbo shot? That's the question. Is this what they call a turbo shot? No, I just think it's just, I could go way finer. I'm going to give this a little taste, guys. It's okay. We're going to go one step finer with this grinder, and then I'm going to go right to the Gemilai grinder. So I'm going to take this one down. We're going to go from, let me show you all here. And this is the live unvarnished. Oh my goodness. There's no varnish on this video. So again, the manual said 1 to 1.5. I'm literally going to take it all the way down to a half. So the one thing I have noticed about this grinder is I feel like there's a lot more grind settings and versus my other Timemores. And that's not a bad thing. It probably has a bigger burr set. So that's kind of what, what I'm thinking. So this grinder that I have right here is the Timemore S3. So this is a $59. This is their big boy. This is their top end. Then over here is the Molight grinder from Gemilai, and that is a 38 millimeter conical burr grinder, all electric. And that's kind of why I wanted to show you guys kind of also the difference between the two. So the price on the Gemilai right now is about $220. After promotion, I think it's coming out to about $210. So price-wise, when it comes to grinders, about $200, believe it or not, that's not that high for grinders. I mean, you're talking about good grinders can cost $400, $600, $1,000. I mean, it's crazy. That's not me, though. I like buying stuff on a budget. Yeah, I didn't calibrate that. I always like to buy stuff on a budget. I like to find stuff at a good price. So that's kind of why I usually review things that are a little more budget friendly. Okay, so 13.8. Let's go with 18. 17.5. There we go. 18 on the nose. Finally. Okay, so guys, I went ahead and took it down another half click. Let's go ahead and get some water. Okay. And go ahead and fill this up. I love to do it kind of at an angle like this, so it's a little more that slow feed method. It's nice getting the muscle workout. There's not anything wrong with that. Using your muscles to make coffee. Come on now. Hey, I'm working out. So I'm going to tell my wife, I was working out today. It does make pretty easy work of things. I know that with my my Chestnut, the C3 Pro, I know that, not that it definitely wasn't the fastest. I was getting great results from that. So that's kind of a little bit where I'm surprised with this one. I think with a manual grinder, you got to put a little more love into it, and there's a little more refining and work. And it sounds silly, but there's two ways of starting out into coffee. This is my humble opinion. I think you can either spend the extra money, get the pro stuff, go as prosumer as you possibly can afford, have some high-end stuff you're working with, and start off running and having great results. Personally, I'm really cheap. I'll just say it. I'm very frugal, and I like to buy stuff secondhand. I bought my secondhand unit, and then I went with my hand grinder because I didn't want to spend that type of money. And I took the slow boat, so to speak. And honestly, I think it kind of taught me a little more. It kind of got me more into the craft of it all. Years ago when I was in college working in a coffee shop, you're doing stuff and you're flexing those coffee muscles. But when you've been sitting on the bench as long as I was, it was nice to kind of figure out how to fine tune some stuff. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But definitely going the hand grinder route, you are definitely taking the slower route that might be a little bit more of a reward and then cheaper. So I personally am not one to poo-poo the idea of getting a handheld grinder, personally. Plus, you could take it mobile. I love making my coffee in my own hotel room when I travel. I hate hotel coffee. Oh my goodness. I hate it with a passion. All right, guys, I think that's good. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's tamp this baby down. Get my distributor on it. Y'all tell me, what's your favorite distributor? I cannot stop using this Norm Core Gravity. It's my favorite distributor. Okay. And clean this up a tiny bit. Okay. Looks pretty good. Nice and hot. Okay. Now, let's cross our fingers because I think this is going to be better. Now, I am using Birdie beans, and these are 100% Robusto. So that's where I'm a little shocked at the results I'm getting, just because I would have expected a little more crema. Then I'm going to go to the Molight here. The King grinder, I hear so much good stuff about. It's one brand I have not reached out to, and I haven't got yet. Yeah, slower, a little better, still way too fast. Wait, look, it's all over. Good amount of crema, not the prettiest shot, way too fast. Oh man, what a mess. What a mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to play around with the Timemore a little more later on. I'm going to do a full review video, guys. We're going to do some pour-overs with the Timemore, and then we'll do some espresso later on in another video. But I did want to just give you a comparison, just because I know that particular grinder is top tier. For me, I was getting better results out of the other grinder, which was a little shocking. I used a C2 grinder for my son the other day, and we were able to pull espresso shots on it and never had an issue. So I think this one just might be that more of a margin for error. So 8.30 out of the, it's not in the espresso zone. Well, I guess 8 to 12 is espresso zone. So it is in the espresso zone, but let's see. I'm sure it's going to taste pretty good. Might not be the best. Cheers. And then we're going to use the the electric grinder. It's okay. Yeah, not my favorite shot. It's still delightful, in the sense that it's I like the beans. Still not bad. But is it my favorite? Am I going to write home about it? No, I'm not. So I'll tell you that right now. Definitely not. Okay. So let's go ahead and clean this out really quick. Yeah, this owl has been awesome. You guys, if anyone's on the fence or you're thinking about getting this owl, I truly cannot recommend it anymore. It is a gem. The main reason why I'm getting the 3007 by Gemilai here pretty soon, you guys, I might end up buying the Turin Legato one too. I'm just trying to look. I'm trying to decide if I want to get version 2 or version 1. I'm incredibly picky. When it comes to spending my own money, man, I do too much research probably. So maybe you're like me. You watch all the videos. I do. There's a great video out there. If you haven't seen it already, I believe the channel's Brew at Home. They're awesome. They do a lot of really good stuff. They had a breakdown video on the Gemilai one. And then I know Tom's Coffee Corner, Tom had a breakdown video. So there's, if you're looking for like where someone's tearing it apart and looking at the internals, there's a lot of good videos out there. So definitely cool. All right, let me zero this out and we'll get 18 grams. Yeah, that one, the difference between this one and that one is that unit has a boiler that sits right on top of the portafilter, the group head. So it is a true stainless steel, I believe 500 liters? No, not 500 liters, listen to me, milliliters or something, which heats it up. And there's a dual heating system with a thermal block for the steam wand. So it's not single, it's two different heating systems. Now you can't do one at the same time because the distribution system in that unit is connected to the two basically heating elements, the boiler and the heat pump or the thermal block. But it is just really cool. If you were looking for that high-end experience that's not going to break the bank, but really give you an actual boiler fill, hands down, that one is just rocking. Like, there's just no other way to say it. So there's a lot of videos out there. There's multiple versions of it. But that's why it's been hard for me to decide which one I'm going to get and spend my money on, you know. As a consumer, you know, I really think it's important that you decide what's good for you. There's tons of options when it comes to coffee out there. We are blessed when it comes to what's available right now at this time for coffee. I mean, that might sound silly, but 20 years ago, I don't remember half this stuff. You know, I mean, 20 years ago, you couldn't tell me about what a blind shaker was, you know, when I worked in a cafe. I remember the first time I worked in a cafe, it was by someone who really didn't know what they were talking about. And I remember them getting their the portafilter out and doing one of these jobs where they're doing an air tamp. and I think about that now and think about, oh my goodness, what were they doing? It's obviously some kid didn't know what they were doing. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to do 18 grams. It's a single doser. I'm going direct to portafilter on this. I have been getting great results with this grinder. There's just no other way to say it. Super fluffy, very fluffy. This is some of the most fluffy grounds I've ever got from a grinder before. And that's not an understatement. I've been thoroughly impressed with this. All right, there's a micro switch on the bottom. I'm doing this in manual mode, but I'm telling you, look how fluffy that is. Isn't that crazy? Let's go ahead and do WDT. Okay, look at that. Nice and fluffy and beautiful. I could just feel it as I'm doing the WDT. It's like I'm going through air. It's crazy. This is a 38 millimeter conical burr grinder. My only gripe about this grinder so far is that it doesn't have bellows that come with the automatic. I did reach out to Gemilai and ask them if they're planning on upgrading them with bellows. And I know straight from Gemilai, the new version, they wanted 2 bellows. I told them they needed to do like an aftermarket bellows. And if anyone knows bellows that are 3.5 inches, please let me know, because I will buy them and I will put them on this machine. There is not anti-static in this machine. There's not an ion or anti-static unit. But again, from Gemilai, I heard that they are going to be doing that in the next version. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, the retention on this thing has been phenomenal. I have been getting amazing retention, and I am crazy impressed. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know if it's a higher RPM, and that's how it's working, but it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. I have my Shandor 64 millimeter flat burr grinder, and that one's excellent, and the shots have been very similar. There's just no other way to say it. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with this little grinder. It didn't, when I say little, it's little. It's an all metal construction. So right here, not plastic. Definitely not plastic. It feels very premium, very luxurious. As weird as that sounds. Okay, guys, I'm gonna shoot for 38 again in about 30 seconds. Oh, definitely more of the consistency I'm looking for. It's coming out like chocolate, a little bit of overspray. Not perfect, but way better. There's just no other way to say it. Way better. Okay. 25 seconds, 34 out. 38, 39.4 in 28 seconds. So that's right about the zone I wanted to get into. So let's go ahead. Let's clean this up a tiny bit. Let's give this a little taste. But look at that crema. Really nice crema on that. Let's put it on the refractometer. Give it a little stir. Wow. Feels creamy. That's good. That's awesome. That's a good sign. Okay. As I make a mess. Oh, bummer. Refractometer just died on me. It needs batteries. Ugh. That's a bummer. Last time I did this, guys, it came out at about, I think it was like a 13 or 14 as far as on the refractometer. That's a bummer. Sorry. Live video. It happens. I love the fact that the refractometer's chargeable, though. Cheers. Let's go ahead and check this out. Oh, what a better shot. That is nice. Super creamy. Delicious. That is what I'm talking about. That's rocking right there. Now, I'm telling you guys, I've pulled 4 or 5 shots today because I was trying to dial this in. And every shot was like, this is the money shot. I wish I could send this to you guys. This tastes delicious. It's a great mouthfeel. Getting that, like, I've said this before, this birdie, Vietnam, single origin, gives me like a dark cherry chocolate type note. A little bit of like nuts on it. It's very tasty. Robusta. That's going to be a lot of caffeine, y'all. So, guys, interesting video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I don't know if this was a total fair comparison because I was still kind of learning how to dial it in a bit. And that's the thing. And that's kind of why I like to do these lives, guys, because a lot of times I get folks who reach out to me. Hey, how's it going? Where they're like, hey, I'm having trouble getting crema, or I'm having trouble getting a really good shot. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, making coffee and making espresso is finicky. There's lots of stuff that can be variables, y'all. You know, the beans you get, your environment, the temperature. It sounds silly. I live in Florida. I live in a very humid, not dry location. You know, my proximity to Mickey Mouse is very small, so that might affect it. I'm just joking. You know, there's a lot of different things. It could be how your grinder is doing stuff, you know, how your different techniques. There's a lot of things that goes into making really good coffee. So the best way that you can make better coffee is get some tools that are good quality, but spend your money where it counts. And that's where, you know, having a good grinder is a really good thing. Toonie has a very affordable grinder that I've used and loved. Another grinder I use a lot, I have it right here. I don't want to knock anything down because the cord's connected to something, is my Hybrew G5. I've really liked the results out of this. Comes with a blower right up top. Very much used for single dosing. My 64 millimeter flatbed grinder that I've been using by Charter. They're awesome. You know, I mean, there's a lot of great affordable options for you. It's just about grabbing one, you know, and going for it. But as far as the Molight goes, This thing is really solid, y'all. I'm actually really surprised. There's just no other way to say it, how fluffy it is. And without having these days, there's a lot of folks, a lot of companies that want to give you like a buzzword or something else. They want to tell you this, it has that, and blah, 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 blah. But it's just about at its core what it does for you. Well, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Again, my name's Tony. Thanks so much for watching. Definitely consider subscribing. If you're a fellow nerd, there's a lot of coffee nerdom going on here. Definitely appreciate y'all. Have a great day, okay?